The Vampire Slayer boss, Riftstalker Bloodfiend, may very well be the most mechanically intensive Slayer boss in all of Skyblock. It's not a stat check by any means due to its nature of being Rift exclusive, but that doesn't mean it'll be an easy fight. The boss has many abilities, the most out of any Slayer boss in the game. It's hard to keep track of, and that's what this guide is for. I am Tachyon, I am a nobody, and I don't like waiting, so let's get started. The boss starts out very simple with only 3 abilities. First off is Coagulation, which deals half a heart of damage per second to whoever spawned the boss. And if it wasn't obvious already, this boss will be doing damage to your vanilla hearts instead of your HP stat. Keep that in mind. There's also Spectral Form, which lets it teleport, but it's not really important. The real kicker is Mania, which, for 22 seconds, the boss becomes invincible, spawns a circle of blocks split into 4 rings. There will be 1 green ring, and if you aren't standing in it when the red rings turn black, you take 2 hearts of damage. Standing outside the circle makes you take 3 health of damage every second, so absolutely don't do that. The boss will always use the ring attack exactly 8 times whenever it uses Mania. You can sort of tell when it'll be over by paying attention to the pitch increasing at the start of the attack, or just keeping track of how many ring attacks it has already used. Tier 2 adds 4 more abilities, though 3 of them are just 1 combo ability, so it's more like just 2. In addition, Coagulation does 1 full heart per second now instead of half a heart, and Mania will deal 3 hearts if you aren't in the safe ring, up from 2. The boss can now use Twin Claws, which, every 7 seconds, launches 2 giant claws, 1 in front of you and 1 behind. Usually, you will only be hit by 1 of these, and it will deal 3 health of damage to you. Despite what the description says, the frontal claw can be dodged if you're actively trying to avoid it, but it is still decently hard to avoid in the heat of battle, but you should have the Holy Ice by now, which will briefly reduce the heart damage you take by 80%. This item exists almost solely to counter Twin Claws, so make sure you're using it. Now the combo ability. It starts with Clotting, which spawns 3 Clot Coils. Each Clot Coil alive will reduce your max hearts by 1. Killing them will turn them into cadavers and render them useless. The boss will then use Stone Wrath, which will cause it to fly up into the air and start targeting you. After 2 seconds, the boss will lock its target and dive down after 3 more seconds or so, causing an explosion that will destroy any cadaver hit by it. After the explosion, if any cadavers remain, they will be revived back into Clot Coils. Tier 3 increases the damage of Twin Claws to 5 hearts, and the damage of Screwing Up Mania to 5 hearts as well. The damage from standing outside the Mania circle is still unchanged, and the damage from Coagulation is still 1 heart. The boss will now use Impel during its Mania phase, which tasks you with performing 1 of 4 inputs within a brief window, or you take 4 hearts of damage. The 4 inputs it can select from are Jump, Sneak, Click Up, and Click Down. You can use Holy Ice to mitigate this, but realistically you should always be doing impels whenever they appear. Not to mention, this becomes much less viable in later tiers. The boss can use Mania a second time before it dies, and after it does, it will use the Stone Wrath combo again, as well as a new ability called Killer Spring, which will launch a spring somewhere nearby. You must compact it by alternately mashing left and right click. The spring must be fully compacted within 15 seconds or you die instantly. The spring explodes around when Riftstalker's Stone Wrath ability ends, so there's not much rush if you want to deal with the Clot Coils first. Also, in vanilla, the Killer Spring sound effect seems to overwrite Stone Wrath's lock-on sound sometimes, so be careful. Tier 4 doesn't introduce any new abilities, but it's still a decent step up. Twin Claws now deal 6 hearts, Impel does 5 and only gives you 2 seconds to complete the order, down from 2.5. Mania now deals 6 hearts, and now does 6 hearts per second if you leave the circle. Finally, they get some more damage. What's new about Tier 4 is that I can now use Twin Claws during Mania, and it can use Impel outside of it. These 2 small changes make the fight a lot more chaotic, so be on your toes. Other than that, not much about the fight has changed, aside from more stats. It should still be consistently doable, but the same cannot really be said for the next tier. Tier 5. Let me preface this by saying Tier 5 is hard, and I mean hard, like a brick of steel. I can't even consistently kill this boss. Most players either never touch it or just do it once for the XP and then dip. You don't have to do Tier 5, but if you want to, then here's what's different. Coagulation now does 1.5 hearts per second, up from 1. Twin Claws now does 8 damage, up from 6. Mania does 15 if you aren't standing in the green ring. Impel does 20, basically turning those last two abilities into one-shots unless you're using Holy Ice. And even then, you'd still get chunked pretty hard. The boss has one new ability, and it might be the most annoying one yet. It's called Blood Ichor. The boss will now often spawn an Ichor nearby, which you need to destroy within 25 seconds or you just die. While it is present, Coagulation's damage is increased by an extra half heart, up to 2 in total. You cannot destroy the Ichor yourself, you have to have the boss hit it with Twin Claws to break it. You need to actively seek it out and align yourself so that the boss hits the Ichor, but at least the hitbox is lenient here. The boss can spawn Killer Springs after the second Mania, but it can also use Mania a third time, and even use Blood Ichor in the middle of it. So on top of Impel and Twin Claws and Mania, you also have to contend with that. Once the final Mania is over, the boss should be low on health, but the sheer amount of things going on means you are far from out of the woods yet. You still have to deal with just about every attack the boss can throw at you at once. If you manage to beat this Tier 5 Rift Stalker Blood Fiend, you are rewarded with 75 Skyblock XP, 30 more Slayer XP per kill than Tier 4, and a chance to get the 1, which is an enchant book for a necklace. Other than that, there is no reason to ever fight a Tier 5 outside of bragging rights. I would personally highly recommend going to the mountaintop after getting the Vampiric Time Charm, and then coming back to Tier 5 after you complete most of the activities there. That's all for this short guide. Good night.